Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Zed. Today I'm going to be talking about ETTX. This is a comprehensive DD with technical analysis. I'm going to go through technical analysis briefly and then dive right into the company news, anything I could find on them, next pipelines, upcoming dates, and everything you can think of. Now make sure to drop a like to this video to help the channel grow, subscribe, and leave notifications on. Let's jump right into it. So this company here has had a lot of requests in order for me to make a DD on. Now, what we get to see is that it's actually at a low right now. It's almost at a 52-week low. And I want to first go on through technical analysis to understand the psychology of the traders in there. So on quick perspective here, ETTX shows going to be a bit sloppy. It's oversold. Momentum is a little bit rough. MACD looks like it's actually going through a negative reversal, and the unbalanced volume has dipped quite a lot. Volume is actually increasing. Usually that's a good sign, but it's going in the wrong direction, and the moving averages are bearish. Now let's take a quick look into one day to try to identify the intraday levels. So what we get to see here on intraday levels per se is that the moving averages here are actually decreasing now. They are looking bearish. ETTX shows in a potential of a trend forming here. 20% puts this one here at oversold. Momentum seems to be dipping back. I mean, we were barely breaking even from above zero. We're going back to negative. MACD here seen a positive reversal around the 15th of October in a short-lived one, and then fell back into a negative reversal. Volumes have been decreasing, and that's a bearish move. Now, 1 hour perspective, merely just for the next few hours, what we get to see, it's actually looking quite even bearish. ETTX shows in a potential negative trend here. Other than that, we get to see nothing that is any significance towards us. Now coming on towards the moving averages. So on the moving averages itself, what we get to see here is top is 226, the middle is 206, the bottom is 185. And usually we do expect that it trades within the moving average band, as we get to see here, but that might not be the case currently. Now, next things next, what we get to see here is the stochastic fast and slow. So the big thing with stochastic fast and slow is trying to identify when would be a good entry. Usually it's around somewhere around this level here, or even this level where it's kind of slowed down towards the bottom. Usually want to sell when it starts to curving down, similar to somewhere around this region here. So right now it's actually fell down back, and what we want to see is something very similar to this area here. Although we get to see the start of a trend that probably will bottom out sometime next week, but we don't get to see that confirmation where it's actually still at the bottom. It seems to have an option of curving down. It looks like it's actually still going down, so that is a bit of bad news for us. Now Fibonacci retracement. This one looks like it got a massive pump before, all the way to from what is it, $2 to 564, and then crashed right back. So that looks like a pump and dump somewhere happening there. And then now we get to see the Fibonacci resistance sitting at 265. Support is 171, which is current price at this moment. Now we get to see some trends here. This is head here, shoulders, and that's a bearish sign. That's one of the bearish signs that you can identify. I'm going on a little bit more informative than usual just to try to help people out. 177, 172 is current support. We're looking at 181 as the current resistance. Above that, we're looking at the 196 mark. Above that, we're looking at the 19, above the 238. Now let's try to see if there's any point of time that it actually gone below 171. No. Okay, I'm gonna go to 10-year period. Nothing. Okay, so there's no current supports below this. So literally, if someone a whale short selling thought, okay, well I want to short sell this one can go sub $1, depending on people freaking out and everything. So the risk here is massive, but it's still a bottomed out chart. I mean, last time it was 173. This one even hit it even worse, 172. This is literally the bottom that's ever been. So usually what happens is when you get a bottom like this, it pushes even a little bit further. It creates a new 52-week low, and then you get to see a small bounce. So that's where you can make your profit on. Now what you want to see is signs of volume going in the right direction where inflow is greater than outflow. You don't want to see it go quiet, all right? The way when I see a stock go quiet and not a lot of movement, that a little bit concerns me when there's no volume, because that means someone is going to get impatient They're going to sell all their shares. Usually they have a lot of shares when it comes in towards being impatient because they've been holding this for a bit, and then causes like a stop limit raid and then it drops the price really hard. Seen this way many times. Next thing, let's take a quick look into the company itself and what is there yet to come, right? That's something very important for me. So, taking a quick look, they make a lot of conferences. The last conference was on October 21st for the novel agents under in vitro activity of Sulbactam ETTX 2514 against recent global clinicals. And before that, they had a different one as well for different presentations. And we get to see that this one here is seen to be very active when it coming towards conferences. So the conference part might not be a very strong catalyst coming in the future, but I don't see anything coming up next. But you know, they'll probably be adding more and more and more. It looks like that is the trend. So if you want to get up-to-date information, it's pretty easy for you to find them. Next thing, how much is their shelf and how big is their shelf? So out of the last SEC filings that I could pull up in the last 2 months, a lot of it has been showing that they have a massive shelf. 18.7 million shares of common stock, 10 million warrants to purchase shares of common stock, and 1.16 million pre-funded warrants to purchase shares of common stock. Not all of it is offering shares, but I believe this one here is around $38 million at 18.7 million shares to be sold at a maximum offer price of $205. Next thing, another one as well. This is Form 8K. Yes, so this talks about 8 million shares, 1.16 million shares at a maximum offering price, or a warrant would be issued and sold at 2.675. Warrants are usually, well, they're very normal, so you don't need to freak out on there. So they do have an offering in shelf, but that is normal as well for a lot of these stocks. So not time to sell out and freak out and run off. Next thing, the company intends to use the net proceeds from the last placements of $25 million private placements to use it towards the use it to continue support of the ongoing ATTACK phase 3 registration clinical trial, as well as for working capital and other general corporate purposes. ATTACK is a global two-part phase 3 registration trial evaluating SUL and DUR for the treatment of patients with pneumonia and blood infection. So there we go. They are actually using their money in terms of advancing back into their products. Next thing what we get to see is basically another 8K. This one shows in their CCO has left effective September, and then following that, more additional shares around $28 million. Now what we get to see is the average volume sitting around 300,000. I like this website, by the way, FinBiz. It gives me a little bit of insight to see a bunch of information that I can find on Yahoo News. But I really prefer going back into here because I can get to see a bit of a quick view of everything. So I do recommend using FinBiz if you're not doing so. Next is their current cash. Their current cash is 5 times more than their previous quarter, December 31st. That's, I believe, 6 months leading. Now, when we go on towards their current revenue, and that's what's concerning to me, their total income is 84,000 compared to 789,000 from last year, or last period, 3 months ending. Year on year, there's a massive decrease, and if you go 6 months ending June, 221 compared to 2.109 million. Massive decrease, and a lot of the money that they have received was basically from previous offering. It's just that they have current cash offerings rather than perhaps coming in from interest or grant income. So that is something to be concerning of, is even though their EPS looks better, have higher dilution, so that is something to be considering of. 13.396 is the current, so 13 million. They have around 50 million cash. I don't think they need any offering anytime soon. I think they have enough cash to proceed, at least for the next few quarters, if their spending stays the same. Now coming on towards the company itself. So the company itself here, they were established in 2015 as a spin-out form for initial funding for AstraZeneca. So they basically are, from my understanding, a spin-off from AstraZeneca. Now what we get to see here is that their pipeline, so I'm going to go through this one here quickly through indication, but if you go on their website, you can actually even see more information on each of them. I do recommend it if you're an investor. Now, coming on through their Sulbactam-durlobactam. Now, holy, I'm an engineer, so these names are very insane for me when it comes into words scientific names. So very much excuse me, I'm 100% sure I mispronounced half of them. So bear with me. The Zai Lab, this one is in phase 3. It's a multi-drug resistance for an Acinetobacter infections. So that one, I'm going to go through a presentation to see where the next steps coming in out of. Now, the next thing would be the uncomplicated gonorrhea. That will be phase 3. For basically, the partners is for GARDP, GARDP, Global Antibiotic Research and Development Partnerships, and the National Institutes of Health. 2 partners going on through there. That's in phase 3. Phase 1 is for their ETTX 0282 CPDP. That's in phase 1. Their partner is CRBX, so the complicated UTIs. And then, not the same partner here for gram-negative infections for initially multi-drug resistance, Pseudomonas, whatever. Preclinical. So that's yet to still go on to phase 1. Current events, I don't see anything coming up in terms on their website. And now coming in toward the fun stuff, their presentation. More words to say that will probably twist my tongue. Now, what we get to see here is from the management group is that we get to see a lot of the management team itself coming in from AstraZeneca. At least their Chief Development Officer, Scientific Officer, CFO, and Chief Executive Officer. 2 of them as well have Pfizer experience. Chief Medical Officer coming in from as well Shire, Merck, and Mount Sinai. And then we're looking from Chief Pharmaceutical Science. I don't recognize any of them except I think Inata. And then General Counsel, Oxford Immunotics, and Zimmer Biomeds, and the Head of Human Resources of Aviva and Fidelity. Big names here. So, AstraZeneca spun out from AstraZeneca with 2 early stage programs in 2015, today advancing 5 antibacterial programs with around 50 FTEs. Now, going on towards their innovative, robust pipeline, so 2 phase 3 clinical trials, as we've seen in the last slides. So they have their SUL-DUR against Acinetobacter, Zoliflodacin against gonorrhea, and 3 additional programs in early stage of developments that I did go through in the last segment. And so they have clear commercial opportunities for potential best-in-class and first-to-make products candidates with significant revenue potential. Now, the fact that they are spinning out from AstraZeneca, the fact that they are going on with a lot of different partners, that gives me a bit of an insight that their long-term investment actually looks serious. Now, they actually are tackling urgent and serious infections or pathogens that are found based on the CDC. So that really shows in a potential for the market over there. Next thing is differential business model, and it focuses on to 4 different segments they have. Focused on multi-drug-resistant pathogens with high unmet medical need, rational drug design, streamlined development strategy, regulatory strategy, targeted commercialization strategy. So they already have single phase 3 pivotal trials with the FDA here, fast track and QIDP designation for 2 phase 3 programs. They have a lean infrastructure to address the US market and key partnership to capture a value from global market. Now, they do have as well ties with AstraZeneca, so that should be amazing here. Next, what we get to see is the current pipelines, and I did already go through this one here. So, in details, and this one is updated in October, so up to date. 2 phase 3 are actively enrolling. The phase 1 is formulation working ongoing. Clinical candidate selection for the one that is going on to phase 1 from preclinical, and lead optimization, this one is still ahead of time. Now, you get to see all developed countries worldwide, and then basically the commercialization right for majority of their actual programs have a massive global market. Now, going on towards the first one here, and that's the SUL-DUR, formerly ETTX 2514 SUL, and this is for the Acinetobacter infections. And what we get to look is the estimated CRAB incidence is around 20 to 40,000 in the States, up to 60,000 in Europe and Middle East, and up to 150,000 in China. Mortality rate is around 50%, and the class A, C, D, and beta lactamases, So that's for resistance to beta-lactamase medicated by classes. So high mortality rate, it shows an urgencies in it. I do expect government funding to come from this one as well, as it did seem to have it on the 10Q in terms of patent income. Phase 3 clinical trials are ongoing onto this one here. Next coming in is a bit of charts here showing in basically their product. So that's the SUL-DUR, and that seems to be on the highest part of the curve. Some statistical graphs here and there. Going on towards their phase 3, so the phase 3 is ongoing with a fast track and QIDP designation by the US FDA. So we do expect to hear more about this in the near future. Next thing is the trial design with 80% power to demonstrate between group confirmatory with a 19%. Now going on towards their expected market share. So they're expecting that treatments for CRAB to exceed $1 billion. So that's the global addressable market that they're looking for. So that is some of the future income that you can expect from this company if it does in fact succeed with these trials. Now just remember, they do have partners, so probably not the entire $1 billion. There'll be a portion of that. That's the market share itself. Now they talking towards their Zai Lab partnership that will help them address CRAB in China. And basically they significantly address an unmet medical need in China and Asia Pacific territory. So they have co-enrollment of the ATTACK pivotal phase 3 clinical trial. If successful, provides path for regulatory approval and direct economics benefit of Entasis, milestone and royalty payment, in addition to partially offsetting phase 3 clinical trial costs. So there's that. Now going on towards the Zoliflodacin. That's the partnership with GARDP and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. There's around 87 million worldwide cases of gonorrhea. And the next thing coming in towards it is their efficacy. So for phase 2 trials, results showed the urogenital efficacy in 47 out of 47 patients. So that is around 100%, which is quite amazing. Including as well the rectal for 100%, but that's 6 out of 6, and this one here is around 78%, so quite alright as well, but lower than what we're looking in for ceftriaxone. Phase 3 trial has been initiated in September 2019, so we are past an entire year, so that is something to be considering of. Next thing coming is their Signs Global Phase 3 pivotal trial that's been sponsored and funded by the partner GARDP. And this one here, we're trying to find, well, what is the next phase? We've already kind of gone through details of it. The next phase coming in, of course, is, well, the end of the phase 3, and the market shares for this one is expected as well to exceed $1 billion. So that is the prediction for 2022 based on their data that they have. Next part is phase 3 to be ending and getting the results out of it. So that I'm not sure exactly how long a phase 3 of such a program actually lasts, but we've been almost around higher than a year, so I do expect to get updates on this one. ETTX 0282 CPDP, this one as well is sponsored by CARBX or partnered with. Addressable infections are around 33% resistant to existing oral treatment options, and basically targeting 1 million hospital CU2Is resistance for oral treatments. Going on towards their actual product, this one here is an orange, is theirs, and you get to see it has one of the highest rates for low concentrations. Looks really nice when it comes into towards statistical perspective. First human study completed had 99 healthy subjects that were enrolled in 12 cohorts. 26 subjects received a single dose of the product, and 51 received at least 2 doses. 22 received matching placebo. And the results did look quite the results did look quite appealing and promising. Now they are rapidly converted, the product is rapidly converted to ETTX 1317 at all dose evaluated. So basically the plasma concentration of that new product is potentially undesirable therapeutic range. Minimal accumulation of the product with multiple dosing. No drug interaction either way with ceftriaxone. Mild to moderate edemesis report in 11 out of 77 receiving ETTX 0282. A high-fat meal but not normal diet and part G 75 mg with 4 doses both resulted in a modified PK profile with no emesis observed. So they're now progressing with development of an appropriate extended release clinical formulation to be evaluated in a further phase 1 clinical trial to assess the safety of the product. So they're still in phase 1, they still need to assess the safety of it, so not far off. ETTX 0462 is the next product that we're looking at, and they have around 10,000 extra deaths and 800 extra hospitals per day. Cases is around up to 650,000 cases per year with an MDR rate of 30% by 2040. Now, moving on towards the next kind of movements for 2021 and beyond, phase 3 data on 2 lead programs for SUL-DUR and Zoliflodacin, commercial launch preparation and sustainable pipeline. That is quite exciting. And what is yet to come is, as I did say, the updates for a lot of these pipelines. They have massive pipelines, but you don't want to be in a position where you get buy the rumors, sell the news. Coming in next is the chart and what I think about this chart as a whole. So right now, it's still yet to find a bottom, and I've seen a lot of charts that look very much like this. I do remember, I think EVFM was one of them, where you still needed to see a bullish kicker. Once you see a bullish kicker here, that means at the end of the day, you see one green candle. So we're very much looking at something like this one here, right? It drops and drops, and then you see a bullish kicker, then you might get in. Let's see a better example. Probably talking somewhere around this region here. See, this very much looks exactly the same. Dropping, finding a new low, and then you see a bullish kicker, and then drops back, another bullish kicker, then you probably would be wanting to enter somewhere either around here or here. You have to see it actually worked out. Similarly, you could be very much in a phase like this one here, right, where it's finding a new low. Bullish kicker here, you get in, got in around 279, you made 425. So that is how I trade this one. Other than that, it still has a lot of potential. It's really great to be investing in the long future. From what it looks like, it's still a pharmaceutical with no existing products, so that's as well dangerous when it comes to offerings. But it is spin out from AstraZeneca, so it does look promising. Their pipeline is really addressing a large number of things that are going on with importance for the CDC. What do you think about the sticker? Make sure to mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like. You have a wonderful day.